Yo, what up, everybody? Tap in, your boys, Fantasy Exec, Johnny V, live and lit on a Sunday morning, week 5, coming at you bright and early, you know what I'm saying? Breakfast and ballers, you know what I mean? JV, what up?
What's up, kid? Sunday morning, another early game. Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Do you actually like the early games? It's nice to wake up and have football right away. Now I know how people on the West Coast feel when they wake up and it's 10 o'clock and
Yeah.
football's on. But at the same time, I'm not a fan of the international games. I don't think they're usually as good. I think the product sucks, and they're pushing this narrative way too hard. But
I'm not a big fan of the international series either. You know what I'm saying? It throws it off. The 9:30 a.m. starts. I don't really get behind. I don't ever bet the game. I don't have no. I do got some stuff on underdog on this game, but other than that, I'm not a real big fan of the international series. Give me the 1 a.m. the 1 p.m. main slate.
That's why living out there on the West Coast, the 1 p.m. wake up nice and early, 10 o'clock. You already got games on. You start boozing early.
Yeah.
The one thing about the 9:30 slate for us on the East Coast is you got to start your Sunday a little bit earlier. So I had to wake up at like 7, go to the gym early before we do this podcast, because once the 9:30 game starts, it's going to take me up to pretty much kickoff, get in the shower, then I'm going to go to my bar and watch football for the next 8 hours.
All right, there you go, right there. I'll be similar. I got another program to do after this. You know what I mean, with a client partner, and then fantasy executive will get into his mood around 11 o'clock and take it all the way up to kickoff. You know what I'm saying? So feeling pretty good, but I should have some pretty good information by the time I get to around that time of day, because we're doing this show right now. So let's get ready and let's get it started. Let's get the board up here, Johnny. And Jacksonville Jaguars taking money this morning. 5.5 across the board. Do see a 4.5 at Circa, 4.5 at BetMGM. Interesting. Barstool already down to 5. So really, it's FanDuel and DraftKings still sitting at the 5.5. Like I said, I'm not on this. This is a blind bet spot on the Royal Mint for you, right?
Yeah, of course. I mean, I do believe you brought up a good point about international. It's a neutral field, but nevertheless, they're still technically away. They're not, just because they're the away team, but they're not at home. Like, they're not in their own home stadium. And, listen, Jacksonville has a travel advantage that I believe they would have been out there since last week, which I think is absurd. Back-to-back games in London. That's comical on the NFL's part. But I think Jacksonville, they played a tough Atlanta defense last week, and I think they're starting to figure some stuff out. I don't think the run game is going to be as stymied as it was against the Falcons. I feel like Calvin Ridley, they understand, like, we can't have this guy, a game breaker, be only getting 3 targets. It's disgraceful. Christian Kirk looks good. There was a huge acquisition last year coming over from Arizona. The Bills' defense without Tre'Davious White for the year, we feel for him, that's a big loss. It's another big injury, season ender. I think Jacksonville is going to be able to move the ball, score some points. And I'll tell you what, if Jacksonville can get themselves to the 21, 24-point range, I believe they cover this spread. And, I'm rooting for them to win today. I want to see Buffalo get knocked off and have a wrinkle thrown into things.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind Jacksonville getting a W today either. Obviously, Buffalo is the team right now that everybody's like, oh, my God, the Buffalo Bills. But still plenty of football left. I'm with you on that one right there. So I would agree. If I had to wager it, I wouldn't. I'm just not going to do anything or take anything to the window on this one. All right, now let's get ready to get into the 1 p.m. Eastern time main slate, right? So let's start off with the BetMGM insights. Most bet games on the day, according to BetMGM. The London game that's already kicked off. Ravens and Steelers, Cowboys and 49ers are the other two. Ravens and Steelers, Cowboys and 49ers, obviously football night in America going to be heavily bet, especially even more so when it's those two teams. The most bet tickets, this is the ticket counts for the day. The Buffalo Bills, the San Francisco 49ers, and the Baltimore Ravens. The money today goes to the Buffalo Bills, San Francisco 49ers, and the Pittsburgh Steelers. Thoughts on that right quick, Johnny?
So everybody's taking the Bills at -5.5, huh? They're
Yeah.
fading the Royal Mint. They're gonna
If
learn today. They're gonna learn. They are gonna learn about the Royal Mint.
Okay.
And Corey, I'm the one that pretty much brought this out to light in the sports media,
This is
sports
your thing.
betting
Yeah.
business. This is my thing. And I think Jacksonville's got a good shot today. As I just mentioned, that Ravens Steelers matchup, I do think that's going to end up being close. I do think Baltimore wins the game, but I feel like Pittsburgh can keep it close. And what was the other one?
The San Francisco 49ers.
Yeah, I'm on the Niners. I know you're on the Cowboys, but I'm hoping that there's a 3 that comes down, so we get a nice even field goal price. But that probably won't happen until closer to kickoff. But I'm
What
riding
if
with the
it? What
Niners.
if? We'll get into it. Circa's at 4.5 right now.
For who?
Jacksonville for the Jacksonville Jaguars. So that number's coming in. You know what I'm saying? That number's coming in right there. All right. We already discussed most of these games on big bets on Friday night, but still, Johnny, we can go through here. Houston and Atlanta. Atlanta is sitting at 2.5. DraftKings has it at 2. Atlanta's up to 2.5, right outside of a field goal on Sunday morning for your Atlanta Falcons. We both agree that this is a spot that we're going with the Atlanta Falcons. I'll probably throw it in the money line parlay because I haven't pulled out the full Sunday cards yet. But Atlanta Falcons is who I'm on.
Yeah, me too. I think if I had to guess, there's probably been some sharp money on Atlanta, hence the movement from 1.5 to 2.5. I think Atlanta realistically is a team that is hard to bet on each week, just because one week they could look good, the next week they look terrible, and it's hard to pick and choose your spots. But if you're going to pick your spot, it's usually the Falcons at home. Desmond Ridder, I believe in his career since college, is like 30-0 at home. You mentioned Arthur Smith this week being 8-1 against the spread at home in his career, if I'm not mistaken,
As a home favorite.
As a home favorite. And Houston, I think for the most part this week has been a trendy underdog. And you know what we do with trendy dogs? Usually we fade them. I think the Texans are a good team. I'm a big fan of what they're doing. I can't wait to watch this game. But I think Atlanta has some matchup advantages that people might not realize, mainly in the secondary against these receivers. And I'm looking for the Falcons to eke out a very close win at the gun today.
You think it's a back and forth game? You think it's a high scoring game? You think it's a game that you would want to get involved in the DSF or DFS spaces? Like, because everybody talks about Bijan, and obviously we see what CJ Stroud and Nico Collins is doing. Or do you think this is a more lower scoring game? The total is 41.5.
Yeah, I mean, I probably wouldn't get involved with the over just because Atlanta's offense does not look good. And Houston's defense has played pretty well thus far. They've silenced Jacksonville. They did really well against Pittsburgh last week. And they're getting up for D'Amico Ryans, man. He's got this team humming. He's got them ready to fight. And I don't know if I can count on Atlanta getting more than like 21 points today. Bijan's got to be special again for them to have a chance. And I probably would take a shot maybe in the DFS lineup, maybe with like a Tank Dell. Maybe Tank Dell is a guy that breaks a 60-yard touchdown on a play action where he's not really being accounted for because Nico Collins is ripping. And I think Collins is probably going to draw a lot of AJ Terrell and leaving Tank Dell, against a vulnerable nickel corners or something like that.
All right, cool. I'm with that. All right, let's get ready. You see the board lighting up. Look like some people is betting the Carolina Panthers, Johnny. I wouldn't do that myself. Carolina in Detroit today. That is a NFC battle. Told you Carolina did win this game last year. We've seen Circus going to 9. We see a 9 at Barstool. Looks like DraftKings is getting ready to tip the 9 as well. So this number is coming in. Was 10 earlier in this week. You got to have a lot of balls to be betting on the Carolina Panthers this morning.
I'll be honest, dude. I like the Lions all week, and I still think
Brown
the
injuries
Lions,
apart, right?
the injuries are coming. They're not good. Of course, like Amon-Ra, it's a phantom injury, bro. I'm so sick of this shit. I really am. I bet Amon-Ra to lead the league in catches this year. 10 days to heal up, and then he has a phantom injury nobody's ever heard about. Then Jahmyr Gibbs is going to play, so we get crusty David Montgomery, 3 yards in a cloud of dust in there for another 75 carries. I'm just so sick.
You can run the ball on Carolina. David Montgomery might go for 200 today.
Yeah, David Montgomery is going to go for 200 if he has 150 carries. He's slow. He looks like molasses back there. But in any case here, I do think this is a spot where Carolina might surprisingly get up for this game.
How?
That's the thing, bro. The NFL, we there's no explanations. There's none. That's how the NFL works. There's no way the Panthers are going to be competitive in this game, let alone win or cover. But that's the kind of thing that would happen here. I still think Detroit wins. I think they probably find a way to cover. But I'm just saying, if there's a big upset to be had today, this is the game I'm circling. I feel like if Bryce Young doesn't turn the ball over, if Miles Sanders has a decent day, if Adam Thielen has a good one, and if the Carolina defense gets back to what they are capable of, get some short fields for their offense, create some turnovers, some big sacks, I think there's a shot for Carolina to be competitive in this one and stay inside the number. This is the game to circle if there's an upset to be had, in my opinion.
We're going to try to hook that up a little bit later on in the program and maybe throw some money line parlays around with some underdogs. Now, I do got to give you a pause because you said big sacks.
Would you shut up, dude? Stop trying to over-sexualize everything. You obviously know. You obviously know.
Go ahead.
That's not what it meant.
Yeah. All right, Tennessee Titans, Indianapolis Colts, Jonathan Taylor back in your lineup. I'm playing him in fantasy today mainly because I have to. Now, if you don't have to play him, you know what I mean, depending on what your roster look like. But normally, you're going to have to play the son. So put him out there. So Taylor gets his money. He's on the field today. Tennessee laying 2.5. Circus got it at 2, mainly 2.5 across the board today versus the Indianapolis Colts. Johnny, I like Tennessee in the game. We've already discussed, basically how Tennessee has gone into that building and ruled them. I had a homeboy call me yesterday and said that streak gets stopped today, that the Indianapolis Colts will rise up today and beat the Tennessee Titans.
Maybe. I mean, I'm not so confident in the Titans just because, bro, 1 week they're getting blown out, the next week they're blowing somebody out. It's hard to predict what this team's going to do. I think Indianapolis is a feisty bunch, man. Anthony Richardson's a dog. I'm a big fan of his. I think Tennessee's, been there a little bit longer. I feel like if Derrick Henry, that's the key, right? If Derrick Henry has a good game, it's going to be hard for them to lose. But if Derrick Henry has a bad game and the offensive line gets plugged and the running game is completely shut down, I feel like you got to like Indy's chances. Nevertheless, man, I think I'm going to roll with the Titans, even though I'm going against the thing where we're going to take the small, which is, a home team in this situation getting 2 or 2.5 as a divisional dog. So I'm going to go against my better judgment. I think I'm going to go with the Titans today.
You look at the DraftKings splits right here, right, Johnny? And basically what we see is that, we talked about fading that trendy dog. This is according to DraftKings. 55% of the tickets on the Indianapolis Colts. That would make them a trendy underdog, taking more than half of the tickets on the game, going towards the underdog. But you do see that money side favorite, that handle favorite coming on the Tennessee Titans. So I want to be on the right side of this one. I think Tennessee is the right side, regardless of, all the things that we saw take place yesterday with them bringing their appointment and stuff like that. Now, listen, with the splits, you always try to listen. They can vary from book to book. I always try to trust my own personal handicap, Johnny. But when I personally handicapped it, it brought me to the Tennessee Titans. So we just so happen to be on that side. New York Giants, Miami Dolphins. Saquon Barkley looks like he's going to be out. Not debating with nobody about Saquon Barkley. I told y'all, son, was not going to be up for the task 2 years in a row. But now we see the Miami Dolphins. That number's all the way up to 12.5. It looks like this thing could get carried away in South Beach.
So for my play, I think, the 12.5 is still fine. I think it's circa, I got it at 11.5.
Now, the Giants defense has not been the problem with this team, right?
No, the Giants defense is pretty solid. I forget what I got. I forget what I got the Dolphins at in my circle pool this week. Let me just double check
Probably
that real
11
quick.
or 10.
11 and a half.
It's
So,
not bad.
we're seeing some more points come into the direction of the Miami Dolphins. I still think they'll cover 12 and a half. I'll lay the big here, but my favorite bet in terms of the line in this game is the first half for Miami. Miami minus 7.5 in the first half. They're unbelievable in the first half of ball games, and the Giants are historically bad in the first half of ball games. No Saquon Barkley. I think we're in a position here, Corey, where
I'm going to check that
if
live and see where that's at right now for that first half.
I gave it out on my Twitter a few hours ago or a couple hours ago, but I do believe if Miami's able to put up points on the board early, the Giants could get taken out of their game
It's
plan.
7.5 on
Yeah, I just said
DraftKings. So,
7.
yeah.
Yeah, I know. I
Yeah, I
said
mean,
7
but
and a half.
that's not what it was like 6 at one point. So that's been
Was
bet
it?
into pretty heavy. Yeah, it was at
Was
6.
it?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I still think they win by 10 in the first half because I think Miami, the way they can score and how they're just going to be pissed off coming off a bad loss last week in Buffalo. I feel like the Giants, they're just not going to have enough offense. I feel like the only shot that they're going to have is if Daniel Jones runs the ball a lot today. Like Daniel Jones needs 15 carries. I think if he gets that number, that G-Men might be able to keep it close because Miami's defense isn't good. But I don't know if the Giants' offense is going to be able to capitalize on the deficiencies of the Dolphins' defense.
Yes, it's very, very difficult to think that you can play them or play any of their fantasy options down there in South Beach today. But it's probably a stay away spot for me altogether outside of what I like with that laying that number in that first half wager that you mentioned. Mac Jones is going to be out there starting quarterback today. New Orleans Saints going to Foxborough to take on the Patriots up there at Gillette. New England did steam up to 1.5 on this one right here. So seeing 1.5s across the board, painted across town for the New England Patriots. This is a good teaser spot for me. I think you can tease either team and hit it on both sides. So, but I just really, after what you saw last week, it's, like we say, Johnny, the toughest thing is to forget what you saw last week. And last week was a complete shit show for the New England Patriots.
Yeah, no kidding. I don't like this game. I think it's a bad game. We're going to see bad quarterback play. Two defenses that are supposed to be good, but they're very underwhelming at the moment. Looking forward to seeing if Alvin Kamara gets another 13 catches for 33 yards. But
Wow.
I don't like anything. I'm completely staying away from this game. If you force me to pick a side, I probably would go with New England. But the teaser look is pretty good, like you mentioned.
All right, one of the games of the day, one of the heavily bet games of the day, Baltimore Ravens, Pittsburgh Steelers. Circa's at 5 on the Ravens. Wow. Johnny, I'm starting to think Baltimore might go in there and blow their ass out today.
Why do you think that?
First of all, the line movement has me feeling that way, right? Number one. Number two, I think this is a Lamar Jackson hero ball spot. Like I can see Lamar 2 rushing touchdowns, 2 passing touchdowns. Like I can see Lamar going there and take the game over and just like take Pittsburgh's heart and win the game by 6-7 points. Like have control of the football game the entire game.
No, I get what you mean. I don't like betting Kenny Pickett. I totally get it.
I feel you.
I don't know though. I mean, it's hard to imagine, bro. These two teams play each other tight. And I know you're gonna say, oh well, it's different quarterback, different times. Ben Roethlisberger was the quarterback, and
I think it's the coaches. I think it's Tomlin and Harbaugh.
I agree. I think it's the coaches. Lamar Jackson, has he historically had big games against the Steelers? I know he's only played them a few times in his career. Let's see, career for Steelers. I don't think he's done anything incredible. I mean, he's got 4 touchdown passes to 6 interceptions. He averages, I think, 126 passing yards per game. Like it's nothing special. The Ravens have not really had a lot of success with Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, but I think that's different. He's missed 3 straight games against this team.
He has. I mean, this is in 2021 though, but even in his MVP season in 2019, He only had one touchdown.
I remember
3
being
picks.
in a bar in Baltimore one Sunday morning in November. You know what I'm saying? I went to Baltimore for the weekend, and I remember Lamar Jackson tearing their ass up. Like he went, like him and J.K. Dobbins went crazy. It was Dobbins' rookie year, pre all the injuries.
Lamar hasn't had a lot of success in the small sample size. He takes a lot of sacks against the Steelers. You know, it's against my better judgment because I think the Ravens are a lot better. Like I'm not sold on the Baltimore Ravens this year yet. I'm not sold yet. I feel like they've played some bad teams in compromising positions. They play the Browns with no Deshaun Watson. They play the Bengals with Joe Burrow basically on one leg.
Road victories. You got like Deshaun Watson is good. Road victories in the division is not something to be like, oh, it just happened. You know what I mean?
No, but like they have, but that's not what I said. I said they've been playing these teams when they're clearly not at their best. They have a big advantage. Like they played the Browns without their starting quarterback, a guy who's literally never taken a snap in the NFL. Joe Burrow has been on one leg the entire time. This whole season, they lose to the Colts with Gardner Minshew. I'm not sold on the Ravens yet. But I do think they are the better team. But I think Pittsburgh finds a way. For me, though, this is a half unit play. I'm not fully confident on anything, but I think it's a half unit play.
All right. Speaking of those Cincinnati Bengals, they're in Arizona this afternoon, 4:05 Eastern time start. They'll kick off the 4 p.m. Eastern part of the slate. We see the 3 juice to minus 115, meaning that number could tip, go to 3.5 on the road. I just can't get behind the team the way the offense looks right now. I save my money and lay out on this one.
Are you talking about the Bengals Cardinals?
Yeah, I'm talking about the Bengals Cardinals. You want to keep up, Johnny?
This is the trendy dog, right? I want to take Arizona. I think Arizona can win and cover, but I'm going to go with Cincinnati one more time because this is their season on the line. Everything is pointing to the Bengals.
You're going to the window with the Bengals this weekend.
Half unit.
Okay.
I have the Bengals in the circa millions. But we talked about it. Trendy dog. When the line came out last week, I was like, "Ooh, I like the Cardinals. I like the Cardinals." But then, dude, everybody likes the Cardinals. That pisses me off. So I have to go against the grain a little bit. This is Cincinnati's season, bro. If they lose, go to 1-4 in the AFC.
I think it's a must win. I don't know if it's I need to bet it type of must win.
Listen, I totally understand. I think this ends up being probably a close game. Like Arizona getting 9 in a teaser is a pretty solid spot. I feel like Cincinnati wins the game. Whether they cover 3, I think they find a way to eke out a win because, dude, let me tell you, if they lose this game, their team's probably done.
Teasing a team up to 9 sounds better than it actually is. Because you tease a team up to 9, the odds makers know that. If I would rather tease it to the other side because if Arizona wins, Arizona's not going to win by more than a field goal.
I mean, that's not a bad cap. I mean, a lot of people are like, "Oh, never tease across 0." I mean, listen, if you like the number,
exactly. If I can go across 0 and get the 3.5, I'm gonna do that.
Yeah, exactly.
Like you can do that with the Chiefs today. You can go across and you can get the 3.5 with the Chiefs. So if Minnesota pulls the miracle off,
aren't they 4?
So.
No, the Chiefs are 4.
The Chiefs are 3.5.
But wouldn't that tease to 2.5?
On a 7-point teaser, I'm talking.
Oh, I don't do 7-point teasers.
Excuse me.
Yeah,
I'm trying to get the number. I'm trying to get the number. Teasers. I'm not trying to be a hero. I'm trying to get the number.
I hear you. Yeah, I mean, listen, it's probably a half unit play. I think the Bengals end up winning this game.
Yeah, that's the most important thing. The Bengals, you know what? Maybe I'll be honest with you. Maybe I'm biased because I took a loss with the Bengals last week, and then that didn't sit right with me. So
me too. I was on the same thing, and I want them to suffer for it. But they are my Super Bowl pick this year coming into the season. Unfortunately, Zach Taylor, that sneaky little snake, was like, "Oh, Joe Burrow's never felt better. He's never looked better." Yeah, okay, really? Is that right? This guy's played an MVP level the last 2 years, and this is the best he's been. Like, I hate when coaches do that. Don't be a scumbag. Like, he obviously doesn't look or is not playing anywhere close to the Joe Burrow that we know. So, I just think Cincinnati gets up for this one. Jamar Chase is going to have a big game. No T. Higgins, most likely. I think Chase needs 20 targets. 20 targets for Jamar Chase. Joe Mixon needs 20 plus carries. I think they just got to control the rock, man, because Arizona's fierce, and I just don't think the Bengals defense is good enough to keep Arizona and their offense at bay.
All right. Continue to go through this, and I got some props I want you to talk about too. We'll go over and discuss Philadelphia Eagles and Los Angeles Rams. This is an interesting spot right here, right? And I think it's an interesting cap to look at as well. You got some 4s and 4.5s mainly. It looks like it's going to close at 4. Johnny, this is a Rams spot. I think I might take the Rams on the money line too.
The Eagles have not played their best football. I don't think at any point this season, but they're still finding a way to put up 30 points, eke out wins, and maybe the Rams catch them in a soft spot today in LA. But I'm going to go with the Eagles, and here's why. Despite the fact that Cooper Kupp is coming back, and I'm excited to see what Puka and Kupp with Stafford is going to look like for the rest of the season going forward. The big concern is the Rams' offensive line. The LA can't run the ball. Philadelphia's pass rush, which is the notable part of their defense, if they can dominate the way the Cincinnati Bengals dominated a couple weeks ago, I don't see where the Rams are scoring even 20 points. And if that's the case, Philadelphia is probably good for 27 today, because the Rams defense on their own turn, it's not that great. Yeah, you got Aaron Donald, but they're beatable in the secondary. AJ Brown is a grown man playing with little children. Devontae Smith is a baller, bro, gets downfield. I just don't know where the Rams are going to be able to cover all these weapons. I think seriously, if the LA offensive line looks like they did a couple weeks ago against the Bengals, there's no shot. So I think that's going to happen. The Eagles are probably the best team in the NFL in terms of both lines on both sides of the ball. I can't really name a better one. And I think they dominate today. I think Jalen Hurts takes care of the rock. And I think Philadelphia has a big win today, at least by a touchdown.
Oh, interesting. I'm on the opposite side of you on that one right there. I'll take the 4.5 with the St. Louis Rams. Jets and Broncos. I'm not
Rams?
fooling. Yeah, excuse me. That's what I said, right?
You said St. Louis.
Stop playing. And I said St. Louis. They ain't been in St. Louis in a decade.
Yeah, I know. You're getting senile in your old age. There,
Jesus Christ, I got to do a better job than that, Johnny. Like Sam Bradford. Jesus Christ. All right, Jets and Broncos. Maybe I go back and say Joe Namath for the quarterback. Who the fuck knows? But it is Zach Wilson. He looked good last week. Jets are a trending dog this week, Johnny. DraftKings splits have the Jets getting 70% of the tickets, yet this number is still stuck and frozen. If I had to do anything with this one right here, it's going to be the Denver Broncos, but I can't fool with these with Sean Payton and all that foolishness he got going on.
I have the Jets in one of my pools, one entry. I like the Jets. I don't love the Jets. I wouldn't be rushing to the window here. I'll tell you what I do like, and of course, as soon as the news comes out, the books are like, let me get to the line, let me raise the line on Breece Hall. Breece Hall's rushing total 62.5. I'm not going to buy the fact that I think Robert Saleh is going to give Breece Hall 20 carries today. I think the 12.5 over with a little extra vig, a minus 122 at FanDuel. I think that's fair. I think 15 carries is the neighborhood for Hall today. I really like the longest rush. I'm not a big longest rush, longest reception guy. I think that doesn't tickle my fancy. To each his own, but for me, that's no good usually. Today, Breece Hall's total longest rush is over 16.5 at minus 114. I probably would take that as well. I think Breece Hall has a good game today. I could see him finally get his ass into the end zone. He's plus 115. The one problem is, the one thing I don't like, because Robert Saleh said, we're going to let Breece Hall off the leash, then the sports books are like overreacting. Is he really going to get that workhorse role? Is he really?
I don't trust every time. I don't believe anything that come out of head coach mouth. You know that.
Exactly. I know. But I think Hall, anytime touchdown plus 115, his longest rush at over 16.5. I feel like those are good plays. I can't get behind the rush yards because I don't think he's going to get 20 carries like Robert Saleh said. Robert Saleh might give him 10, 12 carries and say, oh, yeah, like he's definitely progressing towards a full workload. Like, yeah, okay. I don't think so. So
Yeah.
let's just wait and see. But I like the Jets today nonetheless.
All right, there you go. If I had to do it, I'd take the money line with the Denver Broncos. But like I said, no part to Sean Payton. Chiefs and Vikings. America's game of the week. Chiefs laying 3.5 at the road. Number opened up 4, came down, got 3.5 across the board right now on this one right here. As a matter of fact, this 3.5 on Circa is juice. So we might see a 3 pop in that one. So it looks like the Minnesota Vikings are taking money. This is the type of game that the Vikings would fucking win, to be honest with you, Johnny.
Yeah, it would be. That's why in my entry, I have the Vikings in 2 entries today, and I hate myself for it. I really hate myself for it. But Kansas City lives to not cover spreads, number one. Number two, it just seems too easy for the Chiefs. Laying 3.5, 4 at Minnesota. It just seems too easy, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I think we're getting Minnesota outside of field goal, which typically I like the teams that are laying 3.5 because everybody's like, "Oh, we're getting the hook. Let's take the team that's getting the hook." But in this case here, I do think Minnesota is live to win this one. I don't see anybody stopping Justin Jefferson. Justin Jefferson is just that guy is on a different planet. Kirk Cousins had a bad game last week. The game was a lot closer in Carolina than it should have been because these ridiculous interceptions. I feel like Cousins has a bounce back game. Madison gets a little something going. And I'll tell you what, man, I think the Vikings are going to keep this one tight today. I feel like if they don't win, they lose by a field goal. And I think they stay inside 3.5 or 4. Give me the Minnesota Vikings on a weird play, but I think it comes through.
All right, now I can't knock you on that one right there. Like I said, no play for me. I probably get involved in some props on this one. Football night in America, Dallas Cowboys, San Francisco 49ers. Johnny, you got to do the capping on this one right here. This number is about to move to 3 at Circa. This number is getting ready to move to 3 at FanDuel as well. Matter of fact, this number is going to 3 across the board. I was saying heavily bet game, heavy action on the 49ers. The line didn't move all week. How about them Cowboys and the money line? But I am biased.
We know. I just think San Francisco, if we're looking at the 4 main units of this game being the Dallas offense, Dallas defense, San Francisco offense, San Francisco defense, the weak link out of all 4 at the moment is the Dallas offense. I think that their high point totals are because their defense is scoring points, and I know how good they are. And Micah Parsons is all world. He was my pick for Defensive Player of the Year this year. And I just don't know if I, in this spot, can say Dak Prescott is going to lead this team to even 24 points on the scoreboard. San Francisco is playing on a different level than anybody else in the NFL right now. And Christian McCaffrey is a big reason why. I don't know if McCaffrey's getting another 25 touches today, how they're going to stop him. Brock Purdy is doing everything he needs to, playing within the system, not turning the ball over, knock wood, making good throws, good decisions. And San Francisco's got just a bunch of yak daddies. Dallas has struggled against San Francisco the last few years because they cannot cover these guys like Debo, Kittle, Ayuk, CMC. I think that's going to end up being the case.
Points last time these 2 teams played.
I get it. Listen, Dallas, I think this is going to be a close game, but I feel like San Francisco goes up with a late touchdown. I'm not saying this is a blowout by any stretch of the imagination. These 2 teams play tight games, but I just think San Francisco is a little bit better. They're at home, and they're clicking on all cylinders. I can't say the same thing for Dallas. Dallas's defense is carrying them right now, and they're going to be playing the best offense they might play all year. So give me the 49ers, win, cover at home. Might be a public side, but I think the public wins this one. And listen, I can see Dallas getting up for this game. I think they do. I think this is a very tight game, but it's one where they lose at the bitter end.
All right, let's take a look at some props. My thing right there is going to be, just Brock Purdy under duress for really like the second time in his career. Let's see how he handles that tonight. Now, going to my chart over at Edge House, top over at quarterback passing yards today, Matthew Stafford at 277. Just about everybody else is projected to be under. Bryce Young has not gone over his prop yet this season. Today could be the day, though, according to this chart. You know what I'm saying? You think Bryce Young could throw for 213 yards today?
Yeah, why not? I think the Lions secondary is okay. Brian Branch.
I'm really feeling like I'm about to go ahead and do something real fool, like put a parlay together with the Panthers money line in it.
I just think. Listen, I think Carolina is going to be live, bro. It's so. Here's the reason that I didn't do this. In my survivor pool, I was going to take the Lions today. I wasn't going to. I thought about it. Take the Lions this week, right? And then take the Dolphins next week against the Lions.
Okay.
I'm sorry, against the Panthers. So back-to-back fade Carolinas. But I just think that they're going against these offer teams. They're always getting up each and every week. It's a little bit more and a little bit more, like the sense of urgency. We just got to win one game. That's it. We got to win one game. And, that's really where I'm thinking that this could be a scary matchup for Detroit, because they're missing some key guys. And I don't know, something about this game just screams that Carolina might keep it close.
All right, wide receiver props. I'm going to go Zay Flowers over today. I like Zay Flowers as a play, and his wide receiver props over for my man Zay Flowers. I'll go over for Tyler Higbee and that action he's got going on today. And I'm going to go under on Jerry Jeudy, 48.5 right there. I think Cortland Sutton's the man. That's where I'm at on wide receiver props, JVTV.
I like A.J. Brown to get in the end zone at plus 135. I think Cooper Kupp is a good shot to get in the end zone at plus 165. And I'll tell you what, Corey, I really, really do like David Montgomery to have all of the carries. Like his total is set at only 19.5. Right. David Montgomery might have 19 by the end of the first half. Like I think everybody's on Montgomery. But I don't – dude, David Montgomery's player carry total is set at 19.5. He had 32 coming off an injury because Dan Campbell is a scumbag that doesn't believe in Jahmyr Gibbs and just wants to give it to a guy that can't get more than 3 yards of carry unless the offensive line opens up a hole that they could drive a spaceship through. So I think Montgomery has a lot of carries today. And then last one is going to be on the – where is it? Here we go. It's going to be on the Miami Dolphins game, and I think Tyreek Hill has a big bounce back, and he goes over his 92.5 yards. I think Miami puts up a 40 bean today. They're going to be pissed off. It's like an angry hornet's nest. I think Miami puts up a biggie today.
All right, Russian, Gus Edwards over 47.5.
You think he gets in the end zone?
I think Gus scores today. I got Josh Dobbs over 21.5 rushing yards, right? And then on the back end coming down, probably James Cook lower than 54.5. Jacksonville has been able to do a decent job with the run this year, so that's where I'm at on those rushing props, JV.
Corey, my friend, I always wish you a lot of luck. Hopefully you can cash some tickets and, be a darling and win some money.
All right, there you go. And I hope you can do the same, Johnny. All right, let's get ready to get up out of here in the stream. Don't forget, subscribe, like, do all that good YouTube stuff. We'll be back on Thursday. Fuck with your boys, JV, Fantasy Exec. We out. Good luck this Sunday.